Now, we talk about this a lot, and we will keep doing that until December 10. The social media ban for the under 16s comes into effect then. Concerns. How will it work? Now, one of the big questions is how will the platforms ensure those who are banned aren't setting up a fake account? Well, it could be a big deal for parents as well. And the Minister, Anik Wells, is saying, well, you can tell your kids it's the government to blame for the ban, and that might help, but it still has to be a burden for parents. It has to be. Well, Luke Irwin is the Principal Consultant and founder of Aegis Cybersecurity and joins us on the program now. G'day, Luke, and thanks for your time.
Good day, thanks for having me.
Firstly, are we applauding the government about doing something in relation to the safety of our kids?
Yeah, there is certainly a need because there is an increase in the prevalence of trolling that's certainly happening online and bullying that's certainly happening. And I've been working in this space for more than 20 years and across the military, the government, enterprise, small business, and you see this emerging more and more and more and becoming more impactful.
Okay. Do you think enough work's been done, though, behind the scenes to ensure this goes smoothly? Because it's coming up. December 10's not far away.
It doesn't feel like there's been enough to address a lot of the surrounding risks that relate to this specific problem. The sort of people I'm engaging with day to day, they're the mums and dads of these small businesses, and they're asking me these conversations around this. And what we need to circle back to is how these social media platforms will be storing, retaining, and potentially transacting on this data. If we look at creating a centralized location where they want to store this payment card data or this identity data, you're creating a really high-value target for threat actors or essentially hackers.
Yeah.
You're creating something which they want to go after, which now has amazing value for them. And I trust the likes of Facebook and the other social media companies about as much as I trust my dog with an unguarded steak.
It's one of the best lines I've heard this year, Luke. Very good. Now, look, the serious side of this, I mean, I just can't, and look, I'm not particularly tech savvy. I manage, Luke, but social media platforms guaranteeing children aren't getting online, will they have to use, and I've got this on all of my apps, so I'm pretty good, facial recognition technology. There is that there. So is that how they'll do it? I mean, that sounds too simple to me.
So there's a few options they've been talking about. The government didn't want to provide instruction to the social media tech companies on how to do this. So they're taking a variety of approaches. As an example, there's been discussions that they'll look at what kids or teenagers are engaging with, and if you're engaging with that type of content in that way, then you might get flagged as being a minor. Now, that's one option, but let's say, for example, you get flagged or you create a new account. They're going to either want to see a credit card or a driver's license number or another type of identity data that they're going to want a copy of. Again, can we then go and trust these companies to store and manage that properly, looking at all the problems they've had so far? Now, the other option they've talked about is facial recognition. Now, that works really, really well if you happen to be an adult-aged Caucasian male.
Yep.
If you're not, it breaks down very, very quickly. And that's because the information, the images they use to create what's referred to as like the training data for those systems is heavily biased towards essentially men between 20 and 40. So if you happen to be a child, you happen to be a woman, you happen to be of Asian or other ethnic background, then the data isn't as great to determine your actual age and positioning. The other challenge is that's classified as biometric information. So it's information that's directly correlated to you. If that data gets compromised, it's compromised once and it can't be trusted ever again. Okay. Now, I kind of really want to keep my facial figure the same way that it is, and if I have to rely on that to verify who I am, if the algorithms and systems used to generate that get compromised by hackers, we now have a problem.
Yeah, I've already heard, and it may sound simplistic, but I've read a lot about this and we've presented a lot of stories to our listeners about it, that if you're talking about the under-16s, and you mentioned it, a young man, 14, might look really quite different 2 years from then when they turn 16. So the facial recognition becomes moot.
Exactly. You've then there's no way to actually use that as an accurate or defined benchmark. There's no real science behind it. It's throwing a dart in the dark and hoping you hit the right target. The other bypass mechanisms that can be done is what's preventing a child going and getting a fake identity or now with the digital identities becoming more and more popular, just get a screenshot of a fake identity.
Okay.
From what I understand, Photoshop is incredibly straightforward and quite powerful to use.
It is, yeah.
I
know Photoshop. Yeah.
So they've also got other options to install a technology called a VPN, or virtual private network. That lets you bypass any geo-based or geographic-based restrictions. So last time I checked, they haven't got a ban in America, so a child could literally VPN and say their computer's in America, and there's no way to manage or control that.
Yes, well, even I know a lot of people do that, don't they? Yeah, they do.
They do.
Yeah. To buy products, any number of reasons for having the VPN, yeah?
Exactly. And you've got the other option where they'll end up becoming a secondary market where an adult will go and create an account, get the account verified, and then just sell the device or sell the account to the minor.
Oh, geez, it's a minefield, isn't it? And look, teenagers are pretty tech savvy, better than me. Will they find ways to get it? I've even heard parents, and I don't know whether it's irresponsible or not, saying, well, this is just rubbish and I'll let my teenager use my account. But will they find ways to get around all of these banned sites, the teenagers?
Oh, easily.
Right.
I spend my days working in companies of all sizes trying to address gaps where adults are able to find ways around the systems and controls that businesses put in to protect the business from cyber risk and cyber threats. If we've got to do that to prevent an adult doing it, then a child, especially coming up in the age of technology, they tend to be far more tech savvy and will be able to find ways around this so very quickly. It strikes me as policy on the run without due consideration for what's being done and how to manage it effectively.
Yes, and we're even hearing now this idea being put forward, we should all have a digital ID card. Now, the Australia card was put forward decades ago as a way to identify us all, and the privacy issues surrounding that would probably be ringing in people's heads. But, I mean, when you talk about some sort of identification, you're sort of frightening me a bit, Luke, I have to say.
Sorry about that. No, I agree. And one of the options is if they want to roll out a central identity card, that raises other concerns for me because now you're removing. I acknowledge that part of the problem is anonymity on the internet, but you're now removing that anonymity by correlating a real-world identity with an online identity. And for marginalised groups, for at-risk groups, you're now creating a direct correlation between who they are and the communities they want to engage with. You're removing that safety of the anonymity barrier. Now, what if someone's positions or perspectives become undesired down the line? Would that then enable this action? But then we're relying on the likes of the social media companies to trust and manage this data appropriately and securely.
Yeah. All right, I've only got 60 seconds left, so I want to ask you this. You just mentioned them. Are the penalties for them, the social media companies, going to discourage them from allowing kids to access these sites? I mean, Zuckerberg and Musk and all, they're gazillionaires.
Oh, exactly. And they're talking about the fines being up to $50 million if it was found that reasonable steps were not taken. So what defines reasonable? This is that lovely pub test that is so very difficult to challenge. It's like, what defines reasonable in my eyes versus your eyes? Like I'm coming at it through a cybersecurity governance lens, and you're coming at through it from a journalistic expertise background. What I think is reasonable is going to be very different to you. So how do we assess what's reasonable? And for these companies, $50 million is a rounding error.
Yeah, well, exactly. Frightening to talk to you, but very informative. Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Luke Irwin, Principal Consultant and founder of Aegis Cybersecurity. It's troubling, isn't it? 7:27 is the time.
2SM.